YouTube. Another layout update. I'll get to that in a little bit. But first, there's two things I want to mention. Number one, get ready to start welding class soon. So, as far as progress goes, the money to buy stuff for progress is going to be dropping off by a lot. So, it'll probably be a really, really long time before I do an update. But I've been doing a couple things, so with that little announcement out of the way, let's get to it. Alright, first thing, I took all the feeders that I haven't connected yet. I got them wrapped around the bus, they're connected. And then the big thing I've been doing is I've been taking a bunch of leftover 22 gauge wire that's white, and I'm using that for all my tortoise connections, as many of them as possible. I've got 4 Tauruses on here and 1 DS64 for those 4, and that's turnouts all on the front, and then I'm going to get another 4, 2 for right there, and another 2 for those turnouts, and a DS64 for them. And what I've been doing is I've just been running wires from all my tortoises back to a pair of terminal blocks in preparation for that. And I figured out where the permanent location is for the DS64s, because I figured out the permanent location of the SEAC and the circuit breaker and all that. So I got that done. I'm doing it for all the 4 I have now and the 4 I will have. And then the other thing I'm doing with that is, what I'm doing is I'm taking torus, I'm saying, okay, in this orientation the right side is, let's say it's plus, and the left side is minus. Well, I'm running the wire so when they get to the terminal block, the positive is always on the right, the negative is always on the left. And I'll take that positive and I'll connect the positive for turnout A to the positive on both the DS64 and the SEAC. That way I can line the turnouts if JMRI isn't working, like now. I still haven't figured out that stupid loco buffer. So that's for a little bit. That's why there's been a delay in the signal series, but I'll get to that later on. So that's what I've been doing as far as wiring. Like I said, progress is going to be going really slow, because the next thing I need as far as wiring is 4 more tortoises at $60, and then another DS64, and all the stuff for the grade crossing right there. Grade Crossing Pro, the flasher, the bell sound module, the gates, everything. So it's going to be a while before I get that, so a while before my layout update. But that's pretty much all I've done as far as the layout. It's been running pretty good since the paint was on. My Mikado's fine, but it's a Broadway Limited and has sound in it. My GP7, which operated fine before I did the paint, is now running erratically. And it only has a motor decoder, so I think it's the fact that it doesn't have a capacitor on it. Which I expected it to run fine because it ran fine before. So, I at least got 1 locomotive. I've got my articulated, well, I have 2 articulateds. one I need to fill with the decoder some more and install one in the other articulated. But I have to figure out how to get the shell off the tinder first. So that's the only thing I've been doing as far as the track power. I have the Mikado. I've got pretty much JMRI set up the way I want it, so I'm going to start op sessions. And I'll give a video of those at some point. I'm not going to tell you when because I have absolutely no earthly idea when, but that will be coming. So that's as far as the one stock, I already mentioned the Mikado Jeep. The one thing I started, since I ran out of styrene, so I can't work on the buildings, I can't work on a lot of stuff, but the only thing left to work on is JMRI, and I can't do signals until I get the local buffer figured out. And the only other thing left really is weathering freight cars, because I'm waiting for a couple things to happen before I can ballast track. So it's about the only thing I have left. But I took it. It's just an old Catherine Pensy boxcar. I got this one in a hobby shop in Georgia. It had a yellow Athearn box, so it's probably 70s, 1970s, easy. But I took the trucks off, took the couplers off, I took the frame, the underframe off, and I just weathered all of it separately. The wheel separately. As you see, I rusted out the leaf springs. I did the underframe, I did the couplers. So that's the big project I'm starting on. I'm starting to weather stuff. I've got a nickel plate box car over there, Intermountain nickel plate box car. I'm getting ready to start doing the same thing to it. And I already did wheel sets with a bunch of my hoppers, but yeah, I got all those. Most of my general freight cars I'm going to do, except for my coal hoppers, because my coal hoppers, my mill gondolas, and a couple other cars are going to get repainted, so all I'm going to do is the wheel sets and the truck side frames on those. And then I'll weather the rest of it once I actually get it repainted. As far as locomotives, I blew the decoder on one of my F units. And I already had a cracked axle on the other one that I haven't figured out how to fix yet, so they're down. Do not have a locomotive on the track when you're filling with the wiring, and do not have the track power on. That's what I did. I caused a short and I blew the decoder. So I'm lucky it was only a $20 motor decoder and not a $100 sound chip. But yeah, don't do that. It ends up very bad. Also, sometime in the future, I've just got 2 more turnouts to order, a curved turnout at number 4, and I can do the 2 storage tracks, and this, from that turnout to the cork and around to there. So I'll have basically, when I want to run it as such, a double main line all the way around the layout. I got a little bit more plaster work to do on here. I had the backdrop on, and I noticed, I don't know if you can tell, but if you have a backdrop, you kind of see down there, and you kind of see there. So I got to patch that. While I'm at it, I'll just go back along and soak some of those joints so that the lines aren't as visible. And then we paint it, and then we can put rock castings on. So that's that. So I'm gonna, we're already at 10 minutes, so I'm gonna have a part 2 to this, and stay tuned for that.